Last night, Djonai.
And then she put both hands up.
Been chucked. Like, of all places, you're not getting away with saying anything that's crossing a line in San Fran. So Djonai, by the looks of things, the likelihood of the scenario is she's just asking a heckler to leave. So she's gone, and it's a random heckler joking with people behind them, and then was told to, you know, step back, leave, but immediately came back.
Her ass out. She was walking by. Hey, those are fake nails. She panicked. Hey, get this guy out of here, folks. Rumor has it she was running up and down the.
Djonai Carrington just tried to have a fan removed from the arena for allegedly saying Sophie Cunningham's name, and once again, she couldn't back up the accusation. At this point, it's starting to look less like one bad night and more like a troubling pattern. The more you examine what keeps happening, the harder it becomes to dismiss everything as bad luck, confusion, or a simple misunderstanding.
Look at y'all favorite player.
Went over to one of the officials, as you see Sarah Williams there.
She trying to make it seem like a fan did something crazy to her, right? While I watch.
Handled at the moment.
Look at what y'all looking at. They going to talk to that dude. They been trying to make him leave, right? She's trying to get somebody kicked out. So he getting up. He end up leaving, right? He end up leaving. So they got to investigate. They got to investigate. Now look at the fourth quarter. Look at who you see back 10 out there. He's sitting right there.
This happened during the Sky's game against the Golden State Valkyries, just a few nights after the Cunningham incident that had already put Carrington's name all over social media. It was the fourth quarter, the ball was in play, and everyone was focused on the action when suddenly the broadcast cut away to security stepping onto the court. It wasn't because of a fight. It wasn't because two players had gotten tangled up and started pushing each other, which is normally the kind of situation that brings security onto the floor during a game.
I'm going to say this again. The WNBA will continue to be a walking L because of the players who represent the league and some of the policies that they can't get right. But let's take Djonai, for example. You know, the same one who clotheslined Sophie, and then after she was ejected, went to social media and said, white privilege. She wanted a fan in front row gone for reasons we do not know, but later on he was able to come back to his seat because they deemed what he said as not offensive. So here's the kicker. You want to kick out fans, and you struggle to bring in fans. Unless you're Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Angel Wilson, or one of these big-time markets, you struggle to bring in fans. So kicking out fans is not going to be the answer to grow the...
This time, Carrington walked over to an official and pointed toward a fan sitting near the court, claiming the man had said something he shouldn't have. Even the USA Network broadcast crew seemed confused at first and didn't immediately understand what was happening. All they could tell viewers was that play had been stopped, team security and arena security were involved, and Carrington had gone directly to referee Sarah Williams to make her complaint in the middle of a nationally televised game watched by thousands of people at home.
Now at the stage where I'm pretty confident these players are just any sort of heckling, they're getting a fan kicked out. And again, if you are a player, do you enjoy getting heckled? No, like, I don't think any player enjoys getting heckled. That being said, like, if you're gonna go and get a fan kicked out, they better have done something serious. And again, look who's sitting around him and think about where he is. There is no way in hell he said something across the line. There is no way. And this is a team known for...
And that's exactly what happened next, right there on camera for everyone watching at home. The fan was pulled from his seat and escorted out by arena security in front of a packed crowd, right in the middle of the game, over something that apparently nobody else in the building could clearly confirm hearing. But here's where things get especially interesting. This wasn't some loud heckler spending the entire night shouting insults from the stands, the kind of behavior arenas are familiar with and typically have clear grounds to address. This was reportedly a fan sitting quietly near the court who, according to reports afterward, allegedly said Sophie Cunningham's name. That's it. No reported threat, no slur, no serious misconduct, just a name. And apparently, that alone was enough for Carrington to stop the action and push for a paying fan to be removed from the arena.
The type of games that they play when they in the wrong, right? And it's not a coincidence that this stuff is happening because she's been dirty forever, but has she been getting people kicked out like that or attempting to get people kicked out like that? No. Now all of a sudden, now it's time to start kicking people out. Man, it's crazy. But hey, this is y'all favorite player. This is who y'all stand behind. This is who y'all like. This is what y'all tell me in the comments. So if y'all like destruction, well, hey, I love it then. Hey, if that's what we doing, if y'all like it, I love it. But it does get to a point to where one could be making a fool out of themselves by always starting stuff and being aggressive, but then at the same time always being the one playing the victim. There's a lot of that going on in the WNBA.
Think about how unusual that really is, because situations like this rarely unfold the way this one did. This wasn't a case of a fan obviously crossing the line, becoming abusive, and forcing arena staff to step in. Instead, a professional athlete reportedly heard a specific name she didn't want to hear and believed it was serious enough to stop live play and asked for the fan to be removed from his seat. The story was picked up almost immediately, and much of the coverage was critical of how the situation unfolded. Commentators portrayed it as another example of Carrington reacting before the full circumstances were clear, adding to a growing sequence of controversies surrounding her. And that's what makes this situation stand out. The incidents keep piling up, with barely any time for one controversy to settle before another one takes its place.
And claim that that fan did something worthy of him being kicked out of the arena. So the security guards take the fan back and give some sort of interrogation back in the concourse. And then what happened? Oh, and there you have it. About 5 minutes later, the fan is back in his courtside seat as if nothing happened at all. Now, we all know it was probably her claiming he said some sort of racial slur. I think maybe he might have said something about how stupid her wig looked. I mean, you know these types of women. Whenever they say something about their wigs, they always wig out. But either way, the fan was back in his seat 5 minutes later, and it was just another L for D.
And here's the part that really changes the entire picture once the situation was reviewed instead of simply accepting the initial complaint at face value. The fan was escorted out by security, but he was later allowed back into the arena and returned to his seat to finish watching the game. A Valkyries team official later confirmed to reporters that the fan had been cooperative with security throughout the entire situation and described the complaint as unfounded. It wasn't presented as something still being investigated or an issue left unresolved behind the scenes. The team's own official account made it clear that the complaint did not hold up after the situation was reviewed. That's a significant detail, because security ultimately found no clear justification for keeping the fan out of the game in the first place.
Seriously. Yeah. This is a courtside fan. It's like, bleep it. I'm going. Look at this woman laughing. I mean, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. That fan can't stay, but I can poke all the white girls in the eyeballs I want. All of them. Oh, start lining up white girls for me to poke in the eyeball. Poke in the eye.
So look at what actually happened from beginning to end. Djonai Carrington stopped live WNBA action, brought both team and arena security into the situation, and a fan was removed from his seat in front of a national television audience, only for the complaint to later be described as unfounded. That is a pretty serious mistake to make with thousands of people watching inside the arena and at home. You would expect at least some kind of public explanation afterward, or perhaps an apology, especially if the situation turned out to be based on a misunderstanding. Instead, there has been very little clarification. Carrington has not publicly explained exactly what she believes she heard, why the situation escalated to the point of stopping the game, or whether she regrets how everything unfolded after the complaint was determined to be unfounded.
During the Indiana Fever,
She's just always been dirty, and it's like, a lot of this has to be intentional because there's no way that you continue to do this and it's just a mistake. That's from when she gave Caitlyn a black eye. I never seen nobody, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, I never seen nobody go up with their hands to block a ball and then come down like this and go right into the eye. I've never seen it, and there's no way you can convince me that that wasn't intentional. Just like in the first clip when she hit Skylar Diggins. She knows she couldn't get that ball. She just hit the girl all in the face, and then Skylar fell to the ground. Like, come on, man. At some point, we got to call.
And maybe the biggest reason people are hesitant to give her the benefit of the doubt now is that this isn't the first controversy to surround her. Old footage resurfaced from the 2024 playoffs when Carrington was with the Connecticut Sun, showing her making contact with Caitlin Clark's eye during a scramble near the sideline. The moment received attention at the time, but like many controversial plays in sports, the discussion eventually faded as the league moved on to the next story. However, when that footage is viewed alongside the controversies surrounding Carrington over the past couple of weeks, some fans see a broader pattern rather than a completely isolated incident. Critics argue that there have been multiple occasions where her actions crossed a physical or behavioral line, followed by strong reactions when those moments were publicly questioned.
From the flagrant 2 on Djonai Carrington against Sophie Cunningham, where she proceeded to go into the locker room and tweet white privilege after being thrown out of the game. I'm not going to comment on that situation, but I will say this. This is a flagrant 2. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, don't matter. This is a flagrant. I mean, she clotheslined her. What more do you want? So this looks very bad. It just shows that the WNBA is nowhere near where they need to be professionally, because again, this is a clothesline. It's flagrant.
Because it's important to remember how this entire controversy started, especially when one story quickly turns into another. Just days before the fan incident at the Valkyries game, Carrington made forceful contact with Sophie Cunningham around the head and neck area during a fast break layup. Officials immediately stopped play, reviewed the contact, and ultimately assessed a flagrant 2. That's a significant distinction from a flagrant 1, where there can still be debate over whether the contact was borderline or incidental. A flagrant 2 results in an ejection because officials determined, after reviewing the play, that the contact crossed the threshold for that level of penalty. Cunningham went down after the collision, though the shot still went in despite the contact, and Carrington was ejected before the second half began, leaving her team without her for the remainder of the game.
This straight. You get ejected for a flagrant foul, and then you scream white privilege? Somebody please explain this one to me. Djonai Carrington was ejected today from the Fever Sky game after officials assessed a flagrant 2 foul involving Sophie Cunningham. But here's where the story absolutely exploded. Afterward, Carrington went to social media and wrote on her post, white privilege, and tagged the Indiana Fever to boot. Now hold on, let's just forget politics for a second, and forget which player you like for a moment. If officials have determined that you committed a flagrant foul, and it must have been pretty bad because they ejected you from the game, how does the conversation suddenly become about somebody else's race?
And what happened just minutes after Carrington was ejected, while the league was still reacting to what had happened on the court? She went on social media and posted the phrase white privilege, while tagging the Indiana Fever without clearly explaining what she meant by the post. Was she referring to the foul call? Was the message aimed at Cunningham? Or was she making a broader point about what she believed were unfair patterns in league officiating? She never clearly explained it. Not that night, and apparently not in the days afterward either. Instead, the post was left open to interpretation, allowing fans and commentators to debate its meaning while Carrington remained largely silent about the context behind it.
Saw there, and then had immediately gone to the locker room and tweeted black privilege when she was kicked out of the game. How quickly do you think the WNBA would have reacted? I doubt she would have been allowed to play for the rest of the year. This is an example of straight up, blatant, I think, racist behavior from the.
Meanwhile, Cunningham, the player who took the contact, handled the aftermath in a notably calm way. She told reporters that she didn't view the incident as being about race and pointed out that she had been involved in a similar situation the previous year, when she was ejected and later acknowledged that the ejection was deserved. That contrast became a major part of the discussion surrounding the incident. Cunningham focused on taking responsibility for her own past mistake, while Carrington faced criticism for the way she responded after being ejected and for leaving the meaning of her social media post unexplained. Supporters may interpret the situation differently, but the lack of clarification from Carrington allowed the controversy to grow instead of settling down.
Complained to security about a fan and got them kicked out of the game. The fan was later allowed back into the arena because the complaint was BS, a professional victim.
Carrington also just said something. There was a conversation with a fan sitting on the sideline, as it should be.
Solid representation along with the 96 U.S. women's basketball team.
Put all of this together, and you have a player who was ejected after a flagrant 2, faced widespread criticism over a social media post that was never fully explained, and then became involved in a separate incident where a fan was removed from the arena before the complaint was later described as unfounded. That's 3 major controversies in roughly 2 weeks, and each one generated a new wave of criticism around Carrington's actions and response. To her supporters, these moments may look very different from one another, but to critics, the timing and repeated attention have created the impression of a growing pattern. And the story didn't end there, because that same Valkyries game where the fan was escorted out had plenty more happening throughout the night.